for us or our kids?
Oklahoma teachers are back on the picket lines for a second straight day and bringing their protests for better pay and more funding for schools inside the state capitol. More than 30,000 educators walked out on Monday, marching on the Capitol and forcing classes to be canceled for an estimated 500,000 public school students, some of whom showed their solidarity by joining the teachers for outdoor classes.
We wanted legislators and also the rest of Oklahoma to see what we do in the classroom and how important it is what we do and what our teachers do.
Oklahoma ranks near the bottom of the barrel when it comes to teachers' salaries. They're demanding $10,000 and $200 million in school funding. The Oklahoma strike is part of a wave of similar actions by teachers in several states, protests which show no signs of slowing down. We are now joined on the phone by Taylor Painter-Wolfe, public school teacher in Oklahoma, who is speaking to us from just outside of the Capitol. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So can you tell us what the mood was today in the Capitol? We know for a second straight day, thousands of teachers descended on the Capitol and are demanding more funding for schools and a bigger increase in salaries than what the governor has said she's willing to provide this year. Talk about what your response is.
There are a lot of people here today. I think the estimate yesterday was at least 30,000. And some people have been saying that there's more people here today than even yesterday. And I would say that the mood today is probably more, maybe even more determined and definitely more boisterous today. Lots of chanting, lots of awesome signs, lots of encouragement from the union and other unions across the state and public state workers as well. And so people are trying to get in and talk to their legislators and just telling them that what they've come up with so far is not going to cut it. And the whole time we were in the building today, I spent a long time outside of the building and then waiting to get into the building. But there were people making announcements, union members making announcements and saying the districts that were announcing that they would be closed tomorrow and closed indefinitely, closed for the rest of the week, and everyone was cheering and stuff. So, the districts and the superintendents, by and large, are on board for this.
So we know that Oklahoma is a right-to-work state. What kind of impact has that had on this organizing effort? And, you talked about union support, but talk about what role the rank and file has played in making these actions happen.
This started with a Facebook group that a teacher started, and I forget his name, but the group is Oklahoma Teacher Walkout. The time is now. And I think it's up to like 75,000 members now, and gained lots of members very quickly, lots of momentum. So it kind of started there with teachers saying, we can't take it anymore, because this was after all these failed plans. We've spent over a year now waiting on plans to be passed, various plans that have come through the House, mostly the House, because that's where the revenue-raising measures have to start. And that involved teacher pay raise. And they fail, and they fail, and they fail. And there was even a special session. The governor called a special session, and she called another special session. And then most recently, there was a plan called the Step Up Plan that failed. And then after that, everybody was kind of, I think, it was like the last straw. So then the union then got on board with the walkout.
Talk about what the underfunding of education means for teachers like yourself and for your students. Oklahoma is one of the worst funded school systems in the country. And, we saw that in West Virginia, underfunding inspired teachers to strike and to take the picket lines. and even defined your own union at one point that had reached a deal without their consent. Talk about what that impact is for you in Tulsa.
Mention that actually, the success of the teachers in West Virginia, and they get paid, more than we do. So seeing that work for them, I think was definitely part of the catalyst here as well to say, we've got to do something in Oklahoma, and if it can work for them, it can work for us.